Hey guys, it's Sithlore. Wanted to talk about Inner Sanctuary, which in 1.06 I created a video and basically said it was the most pointless skill that the monk has and definitely the worst of the defensive skills. So 1.07's come along and Blizzard has buffed it quite significantly. So instead of being a relatively small radius, it has been increased to a larger radius of protection. The That's the good news. The bad news is it's still not the strongest skill in the game, but it is at least useful now. So let us find some enemies and we'll take a look at it and see how it works. Some of the flaws still exist, and not necessarily flaws, but the disadvantages of it. The biggest one being the fact that you can still take quite a bit of damage. It's much better now due to the area of the effect of it. And so now you can actually stand kind of in the middle, and as long as it's not a ranged enemy that you're dealing with, then they're not going to touch you. So that's the good news. The bad news is, like I said, if it's a ranged enemy, you're still going to take quite a bit of damage. So the time and the place to be able to utilize this skill, you still need to be very selective. So this is a good time to use it to ensure that you can stay your distance and stay safe. One of the best uses for this skill, and I haven't used it yet, is while Serenity's on cooldown, is because it still will give you that safety zone. And if you're a glass cannon type of a build, which I know most monks aren't, but it is possible, then this is another defensive skill that you'll have, which will allow you to stay alive just a little bit longer. So as you can see here, I'm just sitting here in Inner Sanctuary. The disadvantage, or the same holds true, that since you're a melee character, if you can't hit them, they probably can't hit you, and vice versa. So it's still not going to provide a whole lot of additional damage. It's more of a time saver or stalling technique. So let's go to town and we will take a look at the various runes. The first rune, Safe Haven, is much stronger now. There it is. So Safe Haven, it regenerates 1500 life per second. So it will regenerate for both you and your allies about 7500 life. So let me just take some damage here. Cast Inner Sanctuary, and while I'm standing here, my bulb recharges. That was actually a pretty bad example because I've got a ton of lifeline hits. My lifeline hit was actually regenerating more than anything else was. So let's find another enemy. Alright, here we go. Inner Sanctuary has cooled down, but my enchantress killed them all for me. Alright, an elite pack. So you can see my bulb is recharging quite quickly and effectively as a result of Safe Haven. So if you do not have a skill that if you don't have a lot of gear that's going to regenerate your life, then this is a very good and strong rune to be able to do that for you. So the next rune choice that we will take a look at is Sanctified Ground. So I wasn't a fan of this rune before. It has received a little bit of love from Blizzard, but after the Sanctuary wears off, then anyone coming through the area will be slowed by 80% or 60%. So they basically go to a complete stop. The reason that I'm not a fan of this rune is because in order for you to hit them, you've still got to be in melee range. And movement speed has no effect whatsoever on attack speed. And so unless you are using ranged abilities where you are partnering with allies that are ranged, then the reduced movement speed doesn't help at all. And so that's the reason why I'm not a fan of that rune choice. But like I said, if you're in a group setting, it can be beneficial. Although even in a group setting, I still think there's much, much stronger runes out there. So the next rune is Consecration, which just increases the duration to 7 seconds. Circle of Protection. This is truly the defensive rune. Actually, I'm not even going to show it. It reduces the damage by 35% for all of you that are standing in the circle. So this is good if you want to essentially just have the damage protection. Is the way that you'd use this skill. I will show it. The way that you'll use this is actually knowing that you're not using it as a safe haven. You're actually attacking and trying to do damage. But you just stand on the edge. And so you'll still take damage, you'll still hit, but it's a damage reduction skill. And 35% damage reduction is huge. And with the minimal cooldown associated with this skill, this is actually a very, very strong defensive ability. And so it doesn't matter what kind of enemy or what group you're facing, the reduced damage reduction or the damage reduction will be extremely beneficial to you. So finally, the last rune choice, which is the most popular rune choice, is Forbidden Palace because of the fact that it increases your damage by 15%. So as you can see, my damage is currently 26,000. While standing in it, it's now 33,000. And of course it stacks with all of your other abilities. So the increased damage by 15% is the reason that the skill is relatively popular as a result. So although it only lasts for a short period of time, it provides you that offensive ability. That being said, I still think that for a melee character, Inner Sanctuary is a poor choice. Where this skill is at least useful is in a group setting.